everybody, so today we're going to take you through a basic cool down. It's one of those things, again, probably less so than the warm up that most people do, simply because when you come off court or when you stop training or stop for a run, you're knackered, and the last thing you want to do is think, oh right, I'll do a load of stretches and then do a slower version of what I've been doing. I'm going to go and have a shower, sit in the bar, brilliant, but not so great for body. Very much so. If you've ever experienced what we call DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, that can be reduced greatly with a good warm down program. If you felt a little bit faint, that afterwards, especially in a high intense squash or tennis match, your heart rate's been up, the blood's been pumping, and then you suddenly stop, the blood will pull to the legs and the feet, and then you get up and you're like, oh, hello. It's all that sort of physiological reaction can be limited by a real good cool down. So the purpose of your cool down is to reduce your heart rate and your blood pressure come down slowly, and to reduce that pulling in the legs, and also to reduce or to prevent the onset of DOMS. Although there's nothing like a good DOMS, to be honest, after a real good hard game or session in the gym. So I know it's one of those tedious things to do, and it shouldn't take too long. It should take 5 to 10 minutes, but again, dependent on the amount of time you've been active for and the intensity. So for the the more intense the activity, the longer you should probably take to generally cool down. But yes, time is a premium, and again, something is better than nothing. So I'm going to run through some basic little stretches with you, and also 3 cheat stretches which will get you through. There are 3 stretches which will stretch the whole body. You don't have to go through the whole sequence of going from calves to ankles to knees to hips to back to arms to neck. Those 3 exercises or stretches really do just calm things down, or stretch things out, I should say. So the other thing to remember is that don't just stop when you come off court. Keep walking, keep moving, and don't just sit down. If you have access to a gym bike, if you walking from playing and then going walking home, brilliant. All that stuff is great, just to let everything, the lactic disperse, and just to let your heart rate and everything come back down to normal. But actually, 1 to 2 minutes. If it's real intense and you think, oh my goodness, if I sit down I ain't going to be able to get up, then probably just that little bit longer. And don't think, I'll go and cool down in the sauna. Never happens. You just start gassing. So just try and give yourself that little bit of opportunity. If 5 minutes is all you have, then 5 minutes is fine. So like I say, just a gentle jog or a little bit of time on the bike first off. That's brilliant. So we're going to start off from sort of bottom to top. So we have a basic calf stretch to start with. So all you need is a wall, if you have one. If you don't have a wall, if you're on tennis court, then that is equally fine. With a wall, you want to put your hands onto the wall. We'll start with the purpose of the right leg back first. So the left leg is in front, the toes are pointing straight forward, the back heel you want to be on the floor, and you're simply just going to lean in and push there. It's a lovely, lovely stretch right deep in the back of the calf. And with these stretches, you want to hold for about 15 to 20 seconds. Breathing as we go. So as you breathe out, we naturally relax and release. Good. Coming back, and then changing legs through there. So pushing onto the wall, keeping everything nice and straight. Don't try and beat yourself. Don't try and push the wall. It's not about how hard you can push. It's just about feeling the right stretch in the right place. So holding that again, each side, equal and opposite. If you feel you need to hold it for longer because it's particularly tight and you know you're particularly tight there, then hold it for longer. That's absolutely fine. Coming back up. If you don't have a wall, you simply go into a nice dry stand position, or a partner, buddy you can push against. Again, pushing through the body, but this is really important. Your hips are straight here, and then you're simply just going to lean forwards, and you get an equally good stretch down in the back of the calf. The second stretch of the calf is with a slight knee bend. So this time again without the wall, you're just going to step that knee back a little bit and then just lean into the back of the knee. So I'm stretching the deeper calf of my back leg. So just dropping down there. It can be a little bit sore on knees if you've got a bit of a knee problem, but try not to drop in. Just gently go to where you feel comfortable, and it's not a massive movement, but it gets a real good deep stretch down into the back of the Achilles and into the calf. Holding that position there. If you want to use the wall, I'll demonstrate with the opposite side. So again, same position, but you're not pushing your leg as far back, you're bringing it in, hooking your leg around the leg, and then just dropping down there, really feeling that deep, deep calf stretch. Good, and coming up to here. Super. Okay, so now we're going to come into the hamstring. So hamstring, there's numerous ways people stretch hamstrings, but I find the best way is simply in standing to get a good stretch in the muscle belly. Feet standing hip width apart. You're just going to step your, for example, right leg forwards to start with. Make sure your hips aren't twisted, and you're simply just going to bend the left leg and then just drop from the hip, and straight away there I'm feeling a stretch deep in my muscle belly. To get a little bit more, the toes come up. But with this, we're not bouncing. None of these exercises or stretches you want to bounce. You want to hold, you want to breathe, and you want to go into it. We're not going to necessarily produce any flexibility with these exercises. We're just going to reduce, like I say, reduce the lactic, reduce your blood pressure, and reduce your heart rate, just to come down slowly, to let everything come back and restore to normal. Try with this one not to sort of push the floor and move through there. You're just going to put a load of pressure through your lower back. Get a good deep stretch through there. You don't have to move very far. Change sides. Notoriously with racket sports, notoriously one-sided sports, there is one side that will be tighter than the other. It's just what happens. So try and keep them as equal and opposite as you can. You're not wanting to twist, and you're wanting to feel a real good stretch here, right in the back of the hamstring. We can do a deeper hamstring stretch in a second, more into the adductor portion of the hamstring. Good. And then coming up, stepping through there. Good. So we've done the front of the back of the calf. We've done the hamstring. Now we're going to come into the quad. So this is a stretch that notoriously people always do quite poorly, simply because they want to get a bit better and a bit further. But it doesn't matter how far you go. So holding on to something, it is not a balance test with this, especially if you've been playing quite intensely. You're going to be a bit tired. So you're going to grab hold of the back of the foot. Again, make your hips straight. So a lot of people will be out here, the knee will be out there. Oh, this is good. No, it's not, it's terrible. You're not actually getting the right stretch. So you want your knee together, you want to push your hips forwards and then gently pull back. So you're squeezing that butt. Remember, when we talked about neutral spine in the pelvis, again, it's exactly the same here. Stretching should not be a passive exercise, it should be a completely active exercise. So to get a good stretch in the muscle, you want to almost engage the opposite muscles so that they're engaging and the other ones are stretching. So you get equal and opposite reaction. So it's keeping your knees together. So on sideways on, should be straight. I don't want any of this. Pelvic tilt, so push the hips forwards and gently then pull back. And that's fine to go there. If your knee doesn't go that far and that's where you feel the stretch, that's where you go to. It doesn't matter. But try, and over time, you'll get that nice long length. And then changing sides, grabbing hold. If you have difficulty grabbing hold of the back of your foot, you can use a towel. You can use something behind you just to give you that little bit of a go. Obviously, if you have knee pain or your knee is stiff, you're not going to get so much this stretch. But I'll show you a bit of a stretch in the lunge position. So we're nice and straight. Hips are forward, squeeze the butt, knees are together, don't force it, breathe. Simple. What could possibly go wrong? Good. So we're just going to drop that down there. So then we've gone from the front to the back, now we're going to go to the inner thigh. So again, a nice simple way of doing this is in quite a wide position, and then a basic forward bend just down to the floor. So nice and tall again. Try not to round off so much. Straight away you should be getting a little bit of a stretch in the inner thigh. If you can take your legs a bit further, that's absolutely fine. And then a gentle, just lean to the side. We're not looking at massive movements here, but we want to just gently bend the leg. And if you can, bring it all the way around there. That's absolutely fine. Hold for a few seconds. Don't force it. Just go to where you feel you are comfortable. Lovely inner thigh stretch this, especially if you with it lots of lunging, lots of running. Always forget these. Good. Coming back to the top centre there, and then slowly rolling up. Okay, so we've done the inner, let's do the outer. Ways you can do this in standing is your butt stretch. So you can just put your heel onto your opposite leg, and then requires a bit of balance, and then just dropping down, sitting in. If you don't have walls or whatever, we don't really want to sit on the floor, it's a bit grubby. You're just getting a real good deep stretch into the butt here. And then coming around the other way. Sitting down there. I will show you this as well on the floor. Just to hear. See, definitely tighter on this side. Good bit of balance work too. Good, and then coming up, down there, good. So with racket sports and stuff like that, lots of lunging, so it's good to go back into this lunge position. Again, keep nice and hip width apart. So with this, try not to lean forward so much. Again, pelvic tilt, and then simply just lean forwards from your hip. So you've got your butt on here, but you're not leaning into too much, because that will increase this lovely stretch down the front of the hip flexor, the psoas, into your pectineus. So to increase that, arm up, and then just gently go over to the side. And again, it's really, really deep stretch into there. You don't need to go very far. It's just keeping that nice position. If you know you've got a bit of sore knee, then just hold in that position with a pillow or a hoodie or something underneath your knee there. Hold it for a few seconds. Coming back down and the other way. Good. So this time I'll show you from the side. So foot in front. So from here, pelvic tilt. So we're just gently leaning from the hip there. We're not leaning forwards or going too far. Pelvic tilt here, and then just drop in. And it's the same arm that reaches up nice and high, nice and tall. And again, real good deep stretch there. Not as deep as the right one, never has been and never will be. Holding that for a good few seconds. Good, and then coming back down to there. Good. Okay, coming back up into standing. You can sit when you're doing these. It's completely up to you. Gentle shoulder rolls. Again, you probably need a wall for this, but a nice pec stretch. Hand onto the wall, and then just turn and open up, feeling a good stretch in the front of the chest. Depending on if that doesn't feel like it's a stretch there, move your arm. Depending on where you're tight is where you'll feel that a little bit of a stretch. You can bend the arm as well and come into that position, but it's so important to keep the mobility of those shoulders. And again, so you can do these stretches in as you're kind of standing and really just doing that bit of warm down as well. Good, holding to there. Good. And then nice do shoulder roll. Tricep stretch. You can do the whole thing where you grab hold of the back of the arm as well, making sure the elbow is pushed up to the ceiling. If that's uncomfortable, then a simple little push onto your elbow will just get a lovely stretch down the back there. Good, and then the other way. Again, grab hold if you can in that position, pull that up. Really nice stretch if you can hold that, but equally as good if you can just gently push down onto the top of the shoulder. Good. Lovely. Just a couple on the floor now. So this is a basic back stretch called child's pose. So you're just going to reach, I'll show you in front first, reach forwards, sit back onto your heels if you can, and then just gently then reach forward. Wild child's pose I need to do now, make room for bump, and then here, reaching forwards, and then just move gently from side to side. That'll give a good old stretch either side, cross one arm over the other, to here, and over the other way, just to there. Good. Okay, and pushing back up. If you were struggling with the glute stretch in standing, then you can simply then just lying on your back, put one leg over the other, grab hold and pull in, and again you get a lovely stretch down the glute, the butt of this leg. You can let your head go You can relax, you can breathe, or hold it, it's up to you. And then changing sides. Into there, good. So tight on this side. Keep that breathing. Good. And coming down to there, and then running back up nicely. So that's the whole sort of body stretch as a warm down. Straight away you should feel that a little bit looser. If you are very limited for time, 3 stretches. Standing forward bend, downward dog, and triangle. So they're 3 pretty much yoga poses, but they are brilliant in getting everything going at the same time. So, easy peasy, standing forward bend. Exactly what it says in the SID, pretty much. So feet hip width apart, and all you're going to do is just get your arms going nice and floppy, and then just drop forward, let your arms go, grab hold of the elbows if you want to, but breathe. So don't lock out your knees completely, slight bend in the knee. What this does, calf stretch, back stretch, butt stretch, back stretch. So you're here, let the arms go. Good. Hold for a few breaths. You can rotate, you can twist, you can do pretty much whatever you want. And then rolling back up. Good. From there. Then we're going to take you into a triangle pose. So sideways on. I'll show you from the other way in a minute too. Toes pointing forwards, arms out in front. You're just going to reach forward and then just rotate down. So you've got a good stretch in the inner thigh, outer back, and also a little bit into the upper back as well, that rotation, holding that position, and then coming back up again. Change sides, so you're from the front, so you want a good wide stand, toes going that way. It can be a bit tricky to find this if you're a bit stiff in your hip. Arms out straight, reaching forwards, try not to rotate, down, and then open up. So again, good stretch inner thigh, lovely stretch back, and a bit of mobility and rotation deep into the thoracic spine as well. So holding that for a few seconds. Good, and down, coming back up. So down dog, again, it's the classic yoga pose. If you find that you're getting a good enough stretch with the child's pose, that essentially is downward dog, just in a lower position. So you come onto all fours, hands underneath your shoulder blades, toes are turned underneath you, and all you're going to do is just push up down here and relax. Push into the arms and gently also, they say walk the dog, so paddle the legs from there. I'll show you from sideways on as we come up into down dog. Position there. So butt up, paddle those legs. Really push through. Arms nice and straight, legs nice and straight. Lovely lower back stretch. Lovely hamstring stretch, whole body stretch, gets that whole posterior chain. And there's just 3 real cheat stretches if you haven't got time or you really want to get to the bar. But a bit on nutrition. So it's really important, if you have had a real intense squash game, tennis match, whatever, it's hot out there, it's humid, drink plenty of water. Plenty of water. The best recovery drink for any sport is milk, full of calcium, full of protein, full of fats, but also full of water. So you hydrate so much better and you replenish those lost electrolytes and things there as well. So you can spend as much money as you like on the supplements and things like that and those glucose drinks, but that is one of the best things to recover with. And just make sure you have a protein or a carb snack at least within the 30 minutes of finishing, and try and eat something between 3 hours, at least 3 hours after exercise. So just a few little bits and pointers there of warming down and the importance of it. You know where you're tight, you know where you're susceptible to being a bit stiff in the morning, and especially with the sports that you do. So yeah, if you can add that into your repertoire and into your routine, then do. 5 minutes is all you need. If you want to do a session where you're increasing flexibility, you need to be holding those stretches for an awful lot longer and making the flexibility sessions part of your exercise routines and stuff. So yoga, Pilates, or just a basic stretch program that are, you can get them sort of everywhere. If you need any more advice on that, then please text me, call me, put a message at the bottom. But hopefully that will now be part of your routine. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.